All right. So we'll get a quick photo out for those who need it. We'll do a print, the still photos. We'll let you guys get up front first, and we'll make sure there's time for TV. But all right, TV, you guys give me a thumbs up from the platform when you guys are ready. All right. And with that, we'll let you guys get to your seats, and I'll start the ceremonial toast. One of you guys will get to do this after the game as well, but I know it's probably bad luck. So it takes about 90 seconds while coaches are getting settled. I'll delight you with some of the items that'll be available at the concession tasting later. Trying to pick my favorite. PB&J Pop-Tarts Bavarian Pretzel. That's a warm, freshly baked pretzel topped with creamy peanut butter, strawberry jam sauce, and frosted strawberry Pop-Tarts toaster pastry pieces. We're also going to have some Boston cream pie Pop-Tarts trifles. It's a decadent mix of frosted brownie crunch Pop-Tarts crunchy poppers, chantilly cream, vanilla pudding, and chocolate sauce. I don't know if any of this sounds good to anybody, but I am going to be stuffed by the end of the night. Pop-Tarts, another trifle. We'll keep moving. Oh, this one's good. Hot fudge Pop-Tarts waffle cone bowl sundae. These are all sweet things. Frosted hot fudge sundae Pop-Tarts, vanilla ice cream, chocolate fudge sauce, so on and so forth. We'll also have a bunch of Cheez-It stuff at this event, too. I know that's not the game you guys are here to cover, but Cheez-It Citrus Bowl is our SEC Big Ten game on 12/31. If you're curious, some of those things that you can get. The loaded Cheez-It brisket potato skins are at the top of my list, I think. Baked potato skins topped with overnight braised tender beef, creamy extra sharp white cheddar cheese sauce, and Cheez-It white cheddar crackers. This is the longest 90 seconds. This is it not? Loaded chili Cheez-It crunch dog. Eventually that thing's gonna pop and I'll stop reading menu items to you. A foot-long all beef frank topped with chunky chili, jalapeno cheese sauce. There's some Pop-Tarts, hey! All right, so you can see the toaster works, it functions, it'll do the same tomorrow on the stage for the winning team. We'll put one up on the table. You guys don't have to eat it, but we'll make it available to you if you want it. It's warm, I can assure you. And with that, we'll, as you get settled, we'll take an opening statement from each coach. Coach Cristobal, if you can get us started, that'd be wonderful.
Well, good morning, everybody. Again, thank you for having us here and having such a warm welcome to Orlando. But really want to thank Florida Citrus Sports for, again, just putting on a first-class event and taking us in, and the Pop-Tarts Bowl committee, staff, everyone. From the moment we have arrived and the entire process, our players have really enjoyed it, even though we're not here for a real long time. Certainly just the resources, the treatment, the accommodations have been excellent. And again, as mentioned last night, we have the great honor of playing a great football team with a rich tradition, great tradition like Iowa State, led by Coach Campbell. Ton of respect for him and the great job that he's done with his program. And certainly proud of our players, the University of Miami, and always proud about being a Miami Hurricane. And looking forward to a great opportunity and a great game tomorrow.
Yeah, I obviously we would echo the same thing, you know, from Steve Hogan and really the entire staff here that does such an incredible job making these experiences really special for our football program and our football team. You know, we're uniquely third time we've been able to play down here. Each experience has been absolutely incredible, and a lot of it is because of the people. And I think one of the great things about this bowl game is the impact that it makes on this great community. You know, it's bigger than just a football game. I think the ability to make such a profound impact in the neighborhoods around the stadium and really what this stands for, it's great to be a part of something like that. And, you know, as Coach Cristobal said, the respect that we have for both Coach Cristobal, his staff, and obviously the great tradition and the great team that Miami is. It's just an honor to be a part of that. We're certainly really proud of our football team. It's been a really special year this year for Iowa State football. Got great leadership, great senior class, and a really great coaching staff. So it's an honor to be able to finish up our season here against just a tremendous opponent in a great bowl game.
All right, thank you both. If you have a question in the room, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll start with Tim over on the right. If we can get a mic to right side from Ray. And then we'll move over to the left side.
Good morning, guys. Thank you. Good morning. Mario, conventional wisdom says in this day and age that kids that are going to be projected as first rounders don't play. And every indication from Cam has been that he will play tomorrow. Why do you think he made, it's unfair to ask you to speak for him, but why do you think he made that decision to go one more time with you guys?
Well, I think modern day conventional wisdom sometimes clashes with principles and values of what is right, and nowadays in college football, we are compensated at all levels, right? Coaches, players, administrators, and to do a job, and you must finish the job. I think Cam's DNA, his upbringing, everything that he is made of and stands for is the right kind of stuff, the stuff you want your team made of. He's had a tremendous impact on our community, our team, our program, alumni, and so he understands the importance of finishing, and he understands the caliber of opponent that we're playing and the importance to play at a really high level to give ourselves the best opportunity in this game. So certainly credit to him and the rest of those seniors.
All right, move over here to the left side.
Kind of a similar question for both coaches. Why there's been few, if any, opt-outs. Why do you guys feel like this game is important to finish the season?
Yeah, I would just say from my standpoint exactly what Coach just said. I think both programs are built on values and principles and team. And the reality of it is team is all the way till the end of the season, not till halfway through the season. So I know we're very fortunate that we've got a great senior class that has stood for the right thing, for multiple years in our football program. And I think when your seniors believe in those values, it really trickles down from the top down. And so we're really fortunate to have great leadership.
Yeah, it's very well put. I would echo the same sentiments, and so important. As much as talent acquisition is really important to building a program and sustaining a program, so is having some really highly, I would say, effective, productive, and committed culture, right? Making sure that our task is not only to develop great football players and win games, it's also develop young men for what is right and how to do things the right way. And can you imagine telling your own son, hey, you can start this but not finish that? I don't think anyone in this room would approve of that type of a directive. So I think what you're seeing is we had the opportunity to play against a great football team that has great culture. And that's why it's become very important for our players to have not only great practices but to exhibit great culture, because this is going to be a great football game.
All right, we'll take one down in the front, then we'll go to the aisle over there.
Yeah, Mario, right here. You just kind of got into it talking about the culture there. You've coached against Iowa State before. What comes to mind when you think of Iowa State University?
I think it's a team that first benefits from tremendous coaching, and you see it layered the right way. You see strong senior classes, junior classes, sophomore classes due to retainment and development. That means belief in the program is strong. So systems have been in place for a while, so guys know what they're doing, how they're doing it, and why they're doing it that way. And not only do they have great individual athletes, they play great as a team. They know where their help is. They know where each other is supposed to be, and they're there. And on top of that, they're very, very physical, and they play extremely hard. So you could tell that certainly it means a ton to them.
All right, we're going to take one on the aisle over here, and then we'll move back to Kyle on the left here.
Thanks. This question is for both coaches. I know that Iowa State and Miami are playing for the first time. That's the part about bowl games. You get to see opponents play for the first time. Could you see yourself down the line entering a scheduling agreement where these two teams will play like trade one at home and one away or whatever like that, as we saw how important strength of schedule is to try to be able to get into college football playoff? Thank you.
Yeah, obviously that's a great question, and I think the world we enter right now, and I know both conferences that we play in are really strong, and I think anytime you get an opportunity to strengthen your schedule and play great opponents, and I'm sure that'll be something we'll look at down the road. But again, I think it comes down to a respect factor, and as Coach Cristobal said, the respect factor for both of us in our programs and belief in each other's programs, there's tremendous amount of respect for those quality opponents.
No doubt. I think it obviously be great to look at those particular options, except for, late November up there. Aside from that, I think it would be a great idea.
All right, we're going to go to the left side on the aisle here, then take another one on the left.
Kyle Nash, Fans First Sports Network. One for each of you. Let me start with you, Coach Campbell. First of all, welcome back to Orlando. 5 years ago, you were here at this game and under a different name. Certainly didn't have anything as cool as a toaster in the trophy, but whatever. So with that in mind, you've been a part of that. You've been an essential part of building this program over there in Ames. What, in your mind, has this season meant in that process of building that program?
Well, this has been a really special year for us. I mean, you're talking a lot of first in the history of 133-year history of Iowa State football. And, you know, I would say we probably have at times had maybe more talent, but I don't know if we've had the quality of team that we have this year. And this team has been ravaged with injuries and challenging situations, and they've never flinched. And to me, that's been one of the great joys as a head coach and being in a place now 9 years, which I know is hard to do in today's world, and be able to do it where the young men stand for something and believe in something. And, you know, this year I thought was the epitome of what our program has stood for when it gets really hard, when it gets really tough, and when you face really adverse situations. Man, how do you work through hard? And it takes great leadership, and our leadership in our senior class is as special it's ever been. Our two captains with Jalen Noel and Bo Freeler, what those two guys have meant to Iowa State football and how they've exhibited elite leadership, and then their senior class on top of it. It's been really special to watch. So we're really grateful. It's been a really rewarding season, and obviously to be able to end down here in a really special place against a really special opponent is awesome.
To you, when you first arrived at Miami, it was kind of seen as a rebuild of its own right, one game away from the playoff. What does that mean in your process and what you brought to the Miami program?
Well, it's been a ton of progress. I mean, I'd been away for a long time, almost a 27-year journey to get back to what was always the end goal. And it was one of those things where, I know I've kind of said it ad nauseum. One day I just woke up and said, I'm tired of watching from afar. I want to be part of the solution, a part of the solution, And so over the last 3 years, there's been a ton of progress. And then, again, a year of a lot of firsts for us as well. I mean, first time Miami's been undefeated at home for a long, long time. Second 10-win season in maybe 20 years. State champions for the first time in a long time. And a lot of things accomplished and a lot more to accomplish. And then most importantly, the establishment of some standards, right? Some benchmarks and some cultural, I would say, goals that won't be compromised. And I think credit to the seniors, credit to the staff for making those things possible. And now we find ourselves with a great opportunity. You have two programs fighting for a historic 11th win, and that means a ton to everybody involved. All programs, fan bases, alumni, everybody. So I think that it can't be emphasized enough, the importance of the postseason, the importance of the approach, the growth and development of programs in the postseason, the experience for players, because I get it, we're all in a hurry to move on in life and be pros and whatnot. You only have a certain amount of time to still be a kid, right? And enjoy the things that come with being, a college football player. And this is the last 36 hours that our guys get to experience that for a lot of guys. So all in all, between the accomplishments of the year, the ability to be in this game, all focus really is on this opportunity. And certainly, again, just an honor to have this shot.
All right, we're going to go to the far left, and then we'll go to get two questions from the right side.
Coaches, congrats on a great season. Coach Campbell, special teams often play a crucial role in determining the outcome of a game. How important do you see special teams in this season strategy, and what specific impact do you anticipate for tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I think for us, it's always been critical. We have to play great team football to be successful. And, offensively, defensively, and special teams, it's got to be a huge piece of our football program. And, you're playing a team that has great special teams and obviously great specialists, And so, for our ability to be able to counter that within the football game and be able to hold our own, it'll be critical for us to have success.
All right, we'll take one from Chris and then another one from Tim on the right.
This is for both of you coaches. Fans and critics alike, being the way they are, that line of thinking, consider the season for both your teams a disappointment or a failure in regards to the CFP. But how difficult or discouraging is that for you guys when you consider you won 10 games, both teams won 10 games? Mario, you can go first.
Well, I don't think I don't think anything outside of the walls of the program and the people that put in the daily work, as you mentioned the word disappointment. There's, for us, if you don't win every single football game, win every single rep, there's disappointment in the right kind of way, where you build positive anger and you want a better result through process. But in terms of players' effort and accomplishments and progress, there is no disappointment. For us, as hard as we've worked, and mind you, no one wants to win more than the players at our respective programs and the coaches in our respective programs, and no one puts in the amount of time away from family and obligations outside of football. No one puts in more time than what we do. So I think when a question like that is a little bit, it's almost like foreign, like almost undigestible, because those trains of thought are things that don't creep into our processes, our way of thinking. All we think about is finding ways to get better, do right by our people, help these young men grow, develop, and win football games, and continue to make progress in our organization.
Yeah, I would say I chuckle at that comment, to be quite honest with you. Think about what I just said, 133 years at our school, and we've never won 10 games. We've been in 2 Big 12 championship games in, the last 4 years. Nobody even thought that was ever possible at Iowa State. So to say something like that is, ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. I think for our end of it, we've always talked about in our program is, man, can we get to the end of the season and really have tried to become the best possible team that we can become? And we'll define that once the season comes to an end. And I think what this team has overcome, and I think Coach would echo this, man, with the adversities that you go through in a 12, for us so far, a 13-game season, man, the opportunity to grow through it and become your very best, it's such a great reward. And so that's our world that we live in, and it's awesome to live in it, because you got 18 to 22-year-olds that you just see just continue to grow as great men. And we'll leave on Saturday, we'll have 20 seniors that are going to leave, and they're going to go be great fathers, husbands, but the one thing they're going to be able to do is they're going to be great leaders of people because of their experiences and what they've been able to accomplish even this season. And man, the pride that they'll be able to walk out of that locker room with, no matter what the result is on Saturday, about what they've been able to do and accomplish in Ames, Iowa. So we're really proud of them.
We'll go back to the right.
Mario, I think they brought basketball back around the time that you were a freshman in high school, and you've seen the program go from non-existent to basically mediocre to back-to-back Elite Eights and a Final Four under Coach L. What did yesterday's news from Jim mean to you, and what do you think what's his legacy at the university?
Man, that was a hard one. It really was. Love and respect him. I mean, he's iconic. He is legendary. Certainly just put that program on his back and went to work. And, I mean, he will be missed tremendously. I'm going to rate his roster for tight ends and defensive ends. I think he's just an exceptional human being. I look forward to getting with him and picking his brain on leadership and on team building and culture, and getting him over and having him in front of the guys. And I know he always wants to be involved with the University of Miami, but you couldn't ask for a better human being and a better leader for a program and for young men than Coach L. So Coach L, love to you, man. Certainly, hey, I look forward to seeing you here, down the line, but really appreciate everything you've done for community, for program, for the University of Miami.
Is it sad when he's not the first basketball coach, and it's been a basketball thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it sad when you hear a bunch of these big name basketball coaches in the last couple of years saying, this is not what I signed up for? How do you process the changes and how it's really affected? Mm-hmm. It seems to have a profound effect more on basketball than basketball coaching than maybe other sports.
I think I'm sure we come across a few things that are not likable, borderline detestable, but we love football more than we love the issues that have arisen due to just changes in the game. And there does come as one thing that has stood the test of time: you either adapt or you die, right? So we're in adapt mode, and this period of time, no one knows how long it's going to last, when there's going to be some type of order associated with it. And until then, and hopefully this too shall pass, in terms of just the uncertainty of how to navigate, because there is no handbook. I mean, we all were probably groomed by coaches, and we worked under people that gave us blueprints that we have used to build programs. And now that blueprint is kind of out the door. You have to create a new one that's changing every other week. But honestly, I think you're looking at programs that, that don't flinch. So we just go. And I didn't answer your question. I went all over the place with this. But I think you know what I'm saying. It's you go, man. You adapt and you keep going forward. And you know what? You know what's undefeated? Working your butt off and doing right by people. And if you stay along those lines and you're willing to understand that you better have tough staff members because the hours are longer, the days are longer, the off seasons are shorter, then you know what? You're going to find a way. And hard-working good people have been undefeated over the course of time.
All right, we're going to squeeze in a couple more. We've got basically a line of questions down this left aisle, but we'll start in the back, Fox 35.
Little out of my element here. I usually cover news, not sports, but I've recently been covering the economic impact that these games brings to the community. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts about what this game means for, you think, the city of Orlando, for the money that it brings to the community, to especially the local nonprofits, and also the exposure that it can give to the city.
Yeah, I know I started off this with my initial comments. I think Steve Hogan and what they have, the vision of impact, not just from the game day experience, and I know it's tied in with the Citrus Bowl and the next experience, but the reality of it is just the impact that they have taken these experiences and given back to the local community, and the impact of really making a difference. I think that's pretty powerful for our kids to hear, because again, our job is to take 18 to 22-year-old young men and send them out to the world and make an impact on the lives of others. And to watch a bowl game and bowl experience, and that's actually happening, and that money's being reinvested into young people and making a difference in communities, I think that's really powerful. So, I think Orlando's got they're getting a lot of things in Orlando, and you get a lot of visitors and you get a lot of tourism, but to watch a bowl game and bowl games have a powerful stance to make an impact and create real change, I think that's an awesome experience, and certainly great for us to be able to sell our kids in our program and see that actually happening.
Well, and not only on top of that as well, not only present impact but future impact. How many families that are here intend to come back because they've had such a great experience, right? And from an economy standpoint, that's always a bonus. It's always a tremendous plus. And I want to reflect on the fact that the impact that the community has had on us. I mean, you have two teams that are going to be competing at the highest level tomorrow on the same field, and yesterday we're in the same theme park, and contributing back and giving back to the community, spending our time with a lot of kids, some underprivileged, some fans, and that's super impactful because it's all tied in together, right? I mean, impact, growth, and development are, reaches the economy, but also reaches the individual. It's transformational. And I think that combination, I think it's been impactful for both community and for our program.
All right, we'll go to the left side, and then we'll go red shirt, and we'll close with the striped shirt up front.
Mario, I know you're sitting next to your opponents for tomorrow, so you're not going to give away anything. But have there been any players in the bowl practices over the last month who have stepped up, guys who've taken that next step?
I think that's what you always see during this time, those extra practices when school's out, right? Because a lot of these freshmen, school and college football, that's a lot. So there's a little bit of paralysis by analysis, just a lot going on in that head, a lot to juggle, and for the first time in their lives. And I think what you see now, you see some guys that have certainly, they have earned the opportunity to play more. They have earned the trust of their teammates and their coaches. To get into specifics would be difficult, but I think it'll be reflected in some of the position groups tomorrow that we watch.
Tying into that question a little bit here, Matt, I asked you this last week. You wanted me to ask you again closer to the game, guys that have younger guys that have stood out in bowl practices, and then also your last time down here, it was kind of the first time for Jalen Noel, the first time for Bo Freeler. Who are some guys maybe tomorrow afternoon that will maybe be the next Bo Freelers or Jalen Knowles and have big games?
Yeah, I think the thing for us, when you look at it, I think some of those young guys that are redshirted, we talked about it a little bit last week, in the O-line, the Helton twins, are two freshmen that I thought really had great bowl prep. You know, not to say those guys will be playing tomorrow, but I think those guys have really helped themselves out for what their future has the chance to look like in our football program. You know, you look on defense, I thought Elijah Carnell and Jace Gilbert are two defensive linemen that really have stood out. I think same boat, not that you're going to see those guys tomorrow, but man, those guys' future, I think, has a chance to be really bright. And, you know, everybody else freshman-wise, you know, with the injuries we've had, have had to play, you know, and you've seen them, you've watched them, and, you know, you've got to see some of those guys. So, you know, who stands out tomorrow, I think it's probably the same roster that you've seen play, quite honestly, over the course of the last half of the season, just because they've been forced to have to play for us and have to get in and be contributors and help our football team be successful. So hopefully all those experiences and a lot of those injuries that have occurred, I think will pay off down the road for Iowa State football. But obviously tough to go through this season, but I think grateful that it happened and we had the leadership around it to support it through its journey.
All right, and we'll close right here in the front.
Hey, Mario, this question's for you. But overall, just from a season like this, you know, obviously with individual success from Cam, from X, for example, like what moments have you maybe had to reflect on individual players, but also just moments throughout the season like this for the team?
Well, I think reflection will take place after the game. I think someone asked earlier, how do you balance getting ready for a game and a transfer portal and recruiting and all that stuff, and what's the balance? Well, there is no balance. You just kind of got to go, and you know, whenever you pass out, and you do it again a couple hours later. So in terms of the most important thing, I think, is to really emphasize how appreciative we are for the effort, the commitment of players that have been through a lot. You know, a couple of coaching changes, certainly some ups and downs, injuries, guys that stuck together and put together a really strong team that has accomplished so much and has set a standard and has elevated our program to where now, you know what, Miami is a real thing again. There's national prominence associated with Miami, and now they get to take part in a game against a nationally prominent program like Iowa State. I mean, those things are, you can't put a price tag on that. Those are monumental steps and accomplishments for those guys. So I am forever grateful. Some of those guys will be missed sorely, but like I told them, we already had senior day and all the boohooing and all that stuff. We certainly, you know, days like today are super important as we get refocused once this press conference is over to make sure that we're doing all the right things to give ourselves the best chance for success.
Coach Cristobal, Coach Campbell, thank you both for being here this morning. We appreciate your time, and good luck tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, guys.